Hi everyone, SpiderMan 1991 here, and it's time for my comic review. Like I said in my adventure log, I missed last week's review, but now I'm here to review last week's comics as well as this week's comics. So this is definitely going to be a very long review. Okay, first off, also I'll probably put in the description box a little star or something by the comics that came out this week, so you know which ones so you can tell which ones came out this week and which ones came out last week. Okay, first off, from IDW, a miniseries that I got because, well, it features one thing that I'm a very big fan of, and another thing that I'm also kind of a fan of, but I really haven't devoted that much time to watching most of it, and that is Doctor Who and Star Trek The Next Generation, Assimilation 2. Yep. Pretty much, this is a crossover between Star Trek The Next Generation and Doctor Who. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. As far as Star Trek The Next Generation, I've only seen a couple of episodes of it, but I know about Star Trek and stuff there, and it's a pretty good show. And The Next Generation, I've only seen a couple of episodes, but it looks like a good show, but I haven't seen a lot of it right now, but I plan on, probably borrowing a few DVDs to try to fill in some gaps. Basically what happens for this is an 8-issue miniseries published by IDW, and I got it because it did seem interesting because of the whole crossover with the Next Generation crew of the Enterprise and the 11th Doctor. I really sounded interesting and intriguing to me. And basically what happens is the Borg and the Cybermen have formed an alliance, and they're starting to take over and they've already started invading a planet called Delta 4. And while this is going on, the Doctor, Emmy Pond, and Roy Williams have just finished and having some sort of adventure in Egypt. And right when they get back in the TARDIS, though, the Doctor touches some weird green crystal, and he's given like a vision of the Cybermen and the Borg, and he then takes them to San Francisco in the 1940s, and when they arrive there, they enter some sort of restaurant, and the Doctor points out that they're here to find something interesting, and the Doctor points them to an android in a pinstripe suit, and that android is Data from Next Generation. Okay, well, this is definitely going to be an interesting series. My regret with this issue is that, well, we didn't really get the crew of the Enterprise and the Doctor together in this one, which is, I don't know, seems kind of sad. It's kind of sad that didn't happen, but it seems like a nice little opening. The Cybermen and the Borg are teaming up, and it's definitely going to be hell for the galaxy. And now it's up to these two groups to stop them. Still, it's not a bad first issue. Like I said, I do regret that we don't actually get to see the Doctor meeting with the crew of the Enterprise yet. But, maybe that'll probably happen next issue. Hopefully it will be good, but this was a great first issue. I really hope the rest of the series is awesome. You may notice that the bag is still open in this. Well, that's because I have some friends who are Star Trek fans, and I think, and I also have friends who are Doctor Who fans, and I think they're all going to, I want to give them a chance to read this, because I think they'll enjoy it. So, yeah, I still can't wait to read the rest of this series. It's 8 issues. This is the first one, so we'll probably be done by... So, I can't wait for the rest of this. Seems pretty awesome. This is definitely a buy. Okay, moving along. Marvel. Secret Avengers number 27. Captain Marvel has been resurrected by the Kree, and also the Kree want to use the Phoenix Force to help evolve their race further. And Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Protector apparently go and they attack the Secret Avengers, and they kidnap some of them, but Vision, Thor, and Beast are able to escape. Vision then determines that apparently most of the Kree are under some sort of mind control, and that anyone with the Kree genotype is being affected by this. So basically he's able to counteract the signal, but then Captain Marvel finds Vision and the other Avengers, and there's a fight, and they lose. That's basically what happens in Secret Event. Basically what happens in this. I gotta say, bringing back Captain Marvel. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of Captain Marvel coming back. Last summer I read The Death of Captain Marvel, and it was probably one of the best superhero death stories I've ever read. And it was a nice way they sent him off, but now seeing him coming back from the dead, I hate it. And as far as this tie-in goes and I haven't read Secret Avengers number 26 yet. Sorry, but I am a little lost at this right now. I'm still trying to find Secret Avengers number 26. I'll probably have to order it online and wait a few days for it to come or something. But I plan on getting the rest of this. But I think as far as a tie-in to Avengers vs. X-Men, it's not really a tie-in. It's something that kind of like stands on its own, but it still has some connections to the main event, i.e. the Phoenix Force. But the Phoenix doesn't even make that much of a big deal in this. It's just used by the Kree and just flies over the planet. That's all. That's really all the Phoenix does in this issue. It's not that great. If you're gonna get this because of Avengers vs. X-Men, I would say pass. For everyone on Secret Avengers who's not reading, if you're reading Secret Avengers but you're not reading Avengers vs. X-Men, then I'd say you can pass on this story arc. But if you are a fan of Miss Marvel, though, I would definitely recommend getting this because Miss Marvel is apparently going to be Captain Marvel in her own series, I think, starting in July or later in the summer. And I think this is going to give us the explanation why she's going to become Captain Marvel. So, if you're a Miss Marvel fan, I would recommend this, but if not, I'd say skip it. Okay, Captain America number 12. We learn who the Mole is, the one who's been supplying the new Scourge the information to take out all the supervillains in the S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Witness Protection Program. And apparently Hydra kidnapped Henry Peter Gyrich and brainwashed him into getting a new Scourge and using him to take out all the people in the Witness Protection Program. And we also learn the identity of the new Scourge, and that is Dennis Dunphy, a.k.a. Demolition Man. Okay, well, damn it. Brubaker's definitely making use of some characters who I don't think have been involved in the Marvel Universe for a while. I can't... So... and now we know that Gyrich is sort of behind this, and so is Hydra. But, in this issue, we get... stuff is revealed. Apparently next issue we're going to have the fight between Cap and Scourge. I really can't wait to see that. This is an okay story so far, but I'm still not fully drawn with it yet. I would say that Captain America, it's still something that you should check out. For me, though, this is pretty much the story arc that's going to make or break it for me, Captain America story-wise, about whether or not to drop the book or not. So... But right now, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards keeping it with the whole Revelation issue. Okay, next up from Marvel, definitely one of my favorites. Amazing Spider-Man 686. Pretty much, we pick up from last issue with apparently part of the world being burned by Doc Ock's satellites. However, it's all just a ruse set up by Chameleon and Mysterio so that they can distract the heroes while the real satellites are still being fixed. And so pretty much then the Chameleon decides to fight to use a battlesuit to pose Doc Ock to further add more dynamic to the realism to the ruse. And so Chameleon fights Spider-Man, but then when the real Doc Ock finds out about this, he's pissed off because he's dying. He believes that that he should be the one to fight Spider-Man in this, not anyone else. So he takes control of the Chameleon's battle suit wirelessly, and during the fight, though, Spider-Man figures out that the Ock he's fighting is actually the Chameleon in disguise. And so that also leads Spider-Man to figure out, okay, this whole burning town thing is all just a ruse. It's all set up by the Chameleon and Mysterio. So after they defeat the Chameleon, they find Mysterio nearby, and they convince him to join their side, because Spider-Man points out to him that Doc Ock promised Mysterio, all the Sinister Six, a ton of money. However, if Doc Ock doesn't save the world, then the money is therefore useless to them. So that leads Mysterio to realize, okay, I'm teaming up with you guys. And so Mysterio helps the heroes find Doc Ock's base, which is in Guatemala, and right when they arrive, they are met by the Avengers, who are all being mind controlled by Dr. Octopus's Octobots. And right during the fight, though, when Spider-Man's about to take out Captain America with an ice capsule, which is the same way Doc Ock took Captain America out during the first fight with the Avengers versus the Sinister Six, Spider-Man realizes, wait a minute, Doc Ock's using Horizon Tech. So yeah, we learned that so Spider-Man finally figures out that Doc Ock has been building all his new equipment using the very same inventions Peter Parker has been coming up with for Horizon Labs. Okay, Ends of the Earth. This is pretty much one of my favorite story arcs. This is definitely giving me the same feeling I had. Sorry about that, my camera battery died, I had to go change it. Anyways, what I was saying was Amazing Spider-Man 686, great issue. Really enjoying Ends of the Earth. Probably another great Dan Slott story right here. Great little twist about how Doc Ock's using Horizon Tech to help build his last and master plan, and that Spidey kind of helped him out with it unknowingly, because again, Peter Parker invented this stuff, and Doc Ock's using it to help destroy the world. Really look forward to the conclusion, which is going to happen next issue. Cannot wait for that. I'm really enjoying Ends of the Earth. Again, Ends of the Earth, great story. This is probably definitely one of my comic of the weeks last week, but there it is tied with another comic. I'll explain later. Anyways, moving on. Wolverine and the XMen, number 11. This one takes place during probably during the last issue of Avengers vs. X-Men, number 4. It pretty much shows what happened to Wolverine and Hope on their way to get the shuttle that led them to the moon. Basically, Hope and Wolverine were attacked by the Shi'ar Death Commandos, and they were after Hope, but since Hope is able to use her powers to mimic Wolverine's, and also since the flashes of Phoenix power are starting to become more frequent, she's able to make quick work of those two. And while this is going on, Logan's pretty much, at the start of the issue, Logan kind of has a conflict about killing Hope, because he realizes that he started the school to help keep the mutant kids safe, so he really can't kill a kid no matter what. Because whenever he sees Hope, he doesn't see the Phoenix. He sees a kid who needs help, and he decides that, he's not going to kill Hope. So, in this issue, Wolverine decides he's not going to kill Hope, but he will try to help her. So that's when he calls the Avengers and tells them that he'll be with Hope on the moon. And also, as a subplot to what's going on, Kid Guardian and Warbird were in the middle of leaving Earth, but then Kid Guardian realized he wants to go help the X-Men fight the Avengers, so he leaves his ship to go into the battle. And also at the Jean Grey school, they get an unwanted visitor from Gladiator himself, who shows up asking where his son is. Great tie into Avengers vs. X-Men. I think Wolverine we've said Wolverine is a major player in this whole Avengers vs. X-Men event, because he is an Avenger and he is an X-Men. And I think a lot of what's gonna go on in Logan's head is gonna occur in Wolverine and the X-Men. And this was a great issue. I mean, it definitely looks at Wolverine's character. It's pretty much, he really can't kill Hope because of the Phoenix. He can't, because it's not because she looks like Jean. It's because he wants to. It's because she's a kid, and he can't do that. He wanted to. I mean, that's the reason he left Utopia in the first place. He wanted to keep the kids safe, And now he's pretty much left, when he's left with the choice where he has to kill a kid in order to save the world, he can't do it. So he decides he's going to need help, so he calls the Avengers. Very great issue. Really enjoying Avengers vs. X-Men. Alright, now it's time for DC Comics with Teen Titans number 9. The Cullen crossover has ended. Basically, everything's tied up for all the other groups of heroes. The Ravagers have left the Nowhere facility. The Legion Lost have found a time bubble, so that brings them back. So now they're trying to go back to the future. And during the final, the Teen Titans, minus Skitter because apparently she's MIA. They're fighting Harvest. They're basically fighting Harvest for this issue, but unfortunately the Nowhere facility they're in is starting to collapse around them. So they're forced to retreat, and they're able to successfully get out there using a combination of Wonder Woman's lariat with Superboy's tactile telekinesis, and they're fortunately able to escape the complex. However, on the last page they wind up on some island where Kid Flash wakes up and all of a sudden he sees a dinosaur, and the teaser basically tells us that they're on some place called Mystery Island. Yeah, sorry if that's a poor summary, but this was, I don't know what to describe. The Culling was basically a crossover between the Superboy book and the Legion Lost book, and DC has been doing that, and I think Dark Avenger Chris has talked about this, about DC doing a bunch of inter-book crossovers. I mean, they have Justice League Dark crossing over to iVampire, they have OMAC crossing over to Justice League International, and Firestorm crossed over to Justice League International. They're just really trying to get people to buy most of their low-selling books, and, well, I ultimately think that's what the Culling was about, just trying to get people to read Legion Lost, and I didn't read Legion Lost, so, it was a bit confusing for me. It's always a little confusing when you don't want to buy another book because you just don't, for a crossover, and you read it and you're a little lost. Well, that's pretty much what happens here. Ultimately the Culling, it's not really that big a deal, though. It's just sort of an end to the whole Nowhere arc, I think. I really hope after this we can have a break from Nowhere. Okay, that's what I hope for the Teen Titans book. That after this we're done with Nowhere. We can at least take a break from it and just focus on the Teen Titans just fighting super criminals. That's all. I mean, that would be great. But the whole Nowhere thing. I hope we can take a break from this now. And for Teen Titans, as far as the issue itself goes, just they fight the villain and they don't kill him. He does get away and swears he'll be back. But this really, if you're not reading the whole, I'd say if you're we're getting the entire Culling story arc, then you should probably you can go ahead and skip this. Teen Titans fans, you can probably just wait till the next issue to start reading this again. That is if it is any good, because, I don't know, Teen Titans hasn't really been that much of a strong book ever since the relaunch. Moving on. Superman, number 9. Okay, basically a new metahuman appears in Metropolis who has some sort of density shifting powers. She can make herself really dense and give her super strength, and she can also pretty much make sure that become untouchable. Superman fired a heat vision blast arrow but went right through her. And also, while Superman's dealing with this, some blogger reporter named Victor Barnes has approached Morgan Edge saying that he has proof that Superman has a human identity. And Morgan Edge agrees to run the story. However, the guy who made the story pretty much thinks Superman is not Clark Kent, but someone else named Spence Becker, some huge software mongrel. And sorry about that. And now they've pretty much gone on the news saying Superman and Spencer Beck, and Superman Spencer Becker and stuff. And, well, now that's a problem for both Superman and this Spence guy. I think right now what Dan Jurgens and Keith Giffen are trying to do is just, create short stories for the Superman book. Because last issue, the story was just, 2 parts. This one, I think it's just going to be two-issue story, which, isn't really that bad. It gives you a nice little break from the whole building up to a giant arc. But, right now, it just seems like a short 2-part story. I do want to read the next issue so I know how it ends, so I can actually know how I feel about this, but, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible, though, for the Superman book. If you pick this issue up, then I'd say wait till next issue before deciding whether or not to drop or keep the series or not. Okay, moving right along. The Flash, number 9. We are introduced to Gorilla City and Gorilla Grodd. Okay, after his adventure in the Speed Force last issue, Flash has wound up in Gorilla City, and he also has amnesia. And right when he arrives, though, everyone believes he's a messenger of the light, and the light to them, is the Speed Force. And right when Grodd hears this, Grodd, who's the king of Gorilla City, orders the Flash be put in chained up and put in the dungeon. And so Flash has no memory of who he is, but later he's broken out by, I think, the big religious inner circle of the city, and they take him to the underground caverns where pretty much the whole history of the Speed Force is done in cave paintings, and they explain to him that he's the runner of the light. He's basically the messenger of the light, also known as the runner. He carries both the power of the light and also its curse to help keep the light in check and also save the world. And that's his destiny, to run for everyone and save people. And of course, Gorilla Grodd shows up. He's pissed. He attacks the gorillas and attacks Flash, but fortunately the fight jogs Flash's memory up, and Flash remembers who he is, so he's easily able to take out Gorilla Grodd. And after Flash defeats Grodd, he pretty much tells the citizens of Gorilla City that they're free. They no longer have to listen to him. They no longer have to listen to Grodd, and they can make their own decisions. So with his memory back, Barry Allen goes back to Central City, where he discovers that there's an anti-Flash riot going on, and it's led by Dr. Elias, who since the beginning of the series has helped Flash a lot, and now suddenly he's turned on Flash. That's interesting. I like this issue a lot, though. I like how they redid the concept of Gorilla City, because the way they did it in the old DC universe was that Gorilla City was just this place in Africa that had super intelligent gorillas, and one of them was just an enemy of the Flash. Now they've redone Gorilla City, and they've tied it into the Speed Force and also sort of Flash's history, which is great, because I think that really adds more into making Gorilla City something exclusive to the Flash and not just the entire DC universe. Also, the ending of this issue is great. It definitely makes me look forward to the next issue to understand how Dr. Elias sort of turns on the Flash and what happened to make him sort of lead an anti-Flash mob and stuff. I would definitely say, check out the next issue of The Flash. If you get the chance, and also check this issue out. It's pretty great if you're a fan of Gorilla Grodd. Okay, moving right along. Aquaman, number 9. Black Manta continues his hunt for the rest of Aquaman's old teammates, and this time it leads him to a man known as the Prisoner, who apparently has this Atlantean artifact, this Atlantean chain braces artifact, and also he has this weird ability to summon, I think, the spirits and skills of the fallen comrades of his battalion, because he wears a ton of dog tags, which I think is related to that, and basically he can summon like the spirits of his old battalion to help him out and give him extra strength and stuff. And meanwhile, while that's going on, Aquaman and this woman Yawara have pretty much have taken out all of Black Manta's henchmen. And back in America, Mera interrogates Dr. Shin to know what his connection with Aquaman and Black Manta is. And we learned that after Arthur's father, Tom Curry, refused to let Dr. Shin go forward with his information to reveal that Arthur was an Atlantean and that Atlantis exists, Shin was furious. He wanted recognition for his work, so he hired Black Manta to attack Arthur and take a blood sample. However, when Black Manta attacked Arthur, Tom got in the middle of the fight, and during the fight, Tom suffered a heart attack and died in a hospital 3 weeks later. And then, in a fit of rage, Aquaman went out and killed Black Manta's father out of vengeance. So there's something new we learned. And the final page of this issue is Aquaman finally confronting Black Manta. So yeah, we definitely learned some new history here about Aquaman and Black Manta's relationship. Very nice twist Jeff Johns put on here. Now, and apparently the last page, Black Manta and Aquaman are finally going to confront each other. Can't wait to read that next issue. And I did say this is definitely tied for Comic of the Week last week with Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, Aquaman has been really great since the relaunch. This is probably one of the best books DC has right now, and it's also probably one of the only few good books DC has at the current moment. Okay, speaking of good DC comics, Batman, Annual #1. I'm kind of glad that an annual came out because I can explain how I feel about them. I don't really like buying annuals a lot because this thing's like $5, and most of the annuals, unless they actually tie into a story arc I'm reading, then I'm probably gonna skip it. Because most of the annuals are just like one-shot stories. That's all. The reason I got this annual though is because it pretty much reintroduces us to Mr. Freeze. And it also does tie into the Night of Owls. Basically what happens is Mr. Freeze has just broken out of Arkham Asylum during the whole Night of Owls event, so he can get his wife Nora, then leave Gotham for good. And there have been a few. Also, how's this tie into Night of Owls? Well, Mr. Freeze helped the Court of Owls develop the method and formula used to keep their talons in cryogenic stasis and also to reawaken them. So now, since the Owls helped perfect his technology, Freeze has decided he's going to use the same method that the court uses to wake up their talents to wake up his wife, Nora. And there have been a few changes made to Mr. Freeze's backstory. First of all, he apparently worked at Wayne Labs, and when Freeze was cut off, and during the lab accident, after Freeze was told he couldn't continue his research, apparently Bruce Wayne helped pull the plug on that, and now the lab accident happened, and now Mr. Freeze wants to declare revenge on Bruce Wayne. And, well, here's the big kicker that they really changed with Mr. Freeze. If you don't want to know what it is, skip ahead until the end of this review, okay? What happens is, and it's revealed to us when Mr. Freeze breaks into the Wayne Enterprises main building, and he tries to get back his wife, Nora. And so, when Freeze is about to get Nora, he's confronted by Batman, and Batman and Freeze fight each other, and Batman's mostly pissed at Freeze because of his involvement with the Court of Owls. And then Batman pretty much tells Freeze that that's not your wife, okay? The woman in that tube was named Nora Winter. She was frozen in 1966. She was the first person put in cryostasis in 1966 when she suffered a heart condition and her family didn't want her to die young, and they froze her until a cure could be found to help her. And the reason Freeze is obsessed with her is because he did his doctoral thesis on her, and one of the reasons he came to Wayne Labs in the first place was to study her, and so that pretty much made Freeze gave Freeze an obsession and created the delusion that she's his wife, and so basically Mr. Freeze is crazy now. I mean, in the end though, Mr. Freeze is beaten and Batman sends him back to Arkham, but that's something new that they added to Mr. Freeze now, is that, well, he was never married, and that the woman who he thinks is his wife was actually just a subject of cryogenic studies. Also, this is the thing that it's definitely a big change, because before the relaunch, I liked Mr. Freeze because he really wasn't insane, because he was just a guy who wanted to help his wife. However, he was willing to go deal with any kind of method, which included killing people to get what he wanted, and also breaking laws and stuff. He really wasn't one of the insane Batman villains. However, with changes made with this annual, apparently he is insane and he should be in Arkham. But Mr. Freeze is a great character. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. And I really like this annual, because again, the changes made to his backstory, everything was just brilliantly written by Scott Snyder. He's really killing it with Batman, okay? Again, Batman is definitely one, and this is definitely my comic of this week. The Batman Annual #1. I would highly recommend this to anyone who's been reading the Batman ongoing series. They should definitely check out the annual, because it's awesome. Okay? And that's all of my comic reviews for this week. In conclusion, Batman Annual #1. Changes have been made to Mr. Freeze's backstory, but they work, and it's a very awesome comic. Definitely comic of the week this week. Aquaman #9. We now learn some more revelations about Aquaman and Black Manta's relationship and why they hate each other. You should definitely pick up this series. If you're not reading it now, why? You should start picking up right now. Flash #9. We are introduced to the new Gorilla Grodd of the New 52. Very nice. Really like how Gorilla City does tie into the Speed Force. Definitely recommend people check this out. Superman #9. Pretty much right now, apparently they're going through some short 2-parter stories. This is definitely, I'd say check it out if you get the chance, really. Teen Titans #9. Calling is over. Hopefully we can take a break from nowhere. Wolverine and the X-Men #11. Definitely helps change Logan's feelings about why he can't kill Hope. I would highly recommend this to Wolverine fans and also people reading Avengers vs. X-Men. Amazing Spider-Man 686. Only one issue. Next issue is the conclusion, but this issue was really great for Ends of the Earth. I mean, I'm really loving this story. Dan Slott has done it again. This is definitely tied with Aquaman for Comic of the Week of last week. Captain America #12. We learned about who the Mole was. We learned who the new Scourge is. I still want to read the rest of the series before I decide whether or not to drop this book. Secret Avengers #27. They brought back Captain Marvel. Really, really, really boring. I'd say this is mostly for Miss Marvel fans, because this will probably explain why she's going to become Captain Marvel. And Star Trek: The Next Generation, Doctor Who Assimilation #1. Not bad opening. Wish the characters could have met each other in this issue, but that's why we'll have next issue. This is a great series. I'm definitely gonna have to show this to my friends who are Star Trek fans, because they'll probably enjoy it too. Okay, And that's all of my that's all of the comics I bought and reviewed from last week and this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. That's all. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later and have a nice day.